coated or anti-fog or uncoated? Because what I have is uncoated, and I'm
I
thinking
have the anti-fog and I like it.
you have the anti-fog.
Yep.
Because I was thinking about getting a replacement shield, and wondering if people thought it was worth it.
You've got the UVEX helmet?
The
Which face mask have you got?
I've got the Jackson's safety,
Okay.
the View Max.
You do know that if you take a dryer sheet, that you put in the dryer for static, and
Yeah.
you wipe both sides of your face mask with it, you'll eliminate any static on it and do the same thing.
Part of
Oh,
my problem was a long time ago. I don't know where it was. It was probably a year or more ago. I don't know if it was some CA or some pitch, but I've got little spots on it and they won't come off.
Yeah, that was probably CA.
Yeah, and I'm afraid to try any kind of a solvent. So, yeah, that's probably what it was when I was still well, I'm still learning, but
I'm an old school believer. I clean mine with a product called STP, made for cleaning your dashboards and stuff in your car. And it's a spray just like Armor All, but it's not Armor All. STP, and it's still sold on Amazon, but it puts a light coating on it. It doesn't fog up. It doesn't cling like Ruby said. It doesn't. It eliminates the static cling that it would get, and it makes it so much easier to clean up. I mean, if you're working with something and it gets splashed on you, a finish or whatever, it's so easy to wipe off because you have a protective coating from that STP. I believed in it for 20 years. And really, I used to promote a product, and I can't remember the name of it. It was made by a guy that owned a Dodge dealership in town for finishing cars. And it had the same polymers in it. And that's who led me to looking for the STP. And it was a combination of polymers. And this stuff works wonderful when you used to have a painted car. Remember when they used to paint cars?
Yep.
And as I was helping to market it, I'd walk up to an old faded, red was my favorite color pickup truck, and it'd be faded down because red fades first. And you just put a little bit on a paper towel and rub it on there, and it looked like a brand new truck about that fast. And instantly somebody, I want to get a can of that and do it. And I used it on the windshields of my car and everything else. That's what made me think about using it on the windshield of everything. My visor, my I don't clean windows, but even on a shop window because it collected so much static and stuff. STP. And I don't remember the name of the manufacturer right now. But it worked good. Anything that breaks the static the static cling will help you keep it clean.
and you're talking about the STP, the oil treatment.
Right.
Yeah, it was a spray. It was a spray that for doing dashboards and stuff.
Yeah, there is an STP that you pour in with your oil, and that this is a spray can. It's a little different.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Don't go get the can you put in your gas tank. Mistake.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if that worked, I would have done that. But no, that's not what I'm talking about.
Here, Eddie, I'll show you what this guy did with it flying off the lathe.
Right, you're going to be on spot. Whoa.
Yeah, and he'll show you a little more. It'll run for a second. I'm going to show you his face when he's done. There's his shield. There's his face. There's his arm.
Oh, gross.
Here,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thought that would be a good safety one for you, Sue.
Well, if
I
that
guess-
won't pick you up, nothing will. Well, he had that shield on and he got wounded. Think if
Yeah.
he didn't have that shield on. That was a big block of wood. It would have kissed you.
It looked like it kept on spinning too when it hit him.
Oh, it was. Yeah, it was spinning.
Yeah.
I wonder how fast he had it.
Just dug right in.
Maybe he's spinning it too fast. Does it let go of that screw?
That's why I don't tend to use screw chucks.
I've
And it
heard
does
that.
look like he didn't have a spur up against it, so he was freestanding on that chuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't have the tailstock against it either. That's the other no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agree.
he should have had a faceplate on there anyways.
Well, I use a
least-
screw truck like that once in a while, but I don't ever take the tailstock away until I got the foot done. Then I Then I
And you
get
gotta
rid of
wonder what's the quality of the wood you screwed into.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot to that, if it's bolted and starting to decompose, it's not gonna hold a screw.
Well, even if you drill the hole too big, it's not going to hold on to the screw either. There's a fine line there.
Yep.
So like a screw chuck is like the last resort, isn't it? I mean, really.
Yep.
It's either that or what who used to do. Johannes Milkinson started his hats between a smooth faceplate and a tailstock to initially get it balanced. I saw him do that at Aramont back almost 20 years ago. And I thought right then and there, he's got a death wish, because I don't care how convenient it was for him to show somebody to do that. Why would you show somebody to make that kind of mistake? But and he was saying, if you have a better way to hold it to get it shaped up, yes. Any other way except what you did there is a better way. But his thing was, well, you don't want to lose any of the good wood until you kind of get it framed up a little bit. No, it's wood. But that was when Johannes Mikkelsen was first starting to teach classes at places like Aramont. A couple of years later, when I saw him again, he had really refined that and got rid of some of those barbaric techniques he had. But I got to, he's a good turner. He just wasn't a good instructor for a turner. And you have those all over the place. And that's why we, worldwide wood turners, is fairly careful about what we show, because we have to appreciate that there are young or novice turners. Well, let's say young, because none of us are young. Novice turners out there watching, and if they see us do something that is, in my words, stupid, they might think it's an okay technique. I mean, this guy with the chuck, we don't know what actually went wrong. We don't know what happened, but it tells you beware.
Well, if you looked at the first part of the video, he didn't have it screwed all the way up tight. And then, like Scott pointed out, he didn't bring his tailstock up. So those were two major areas right there.
You're right. You're right. You can do it between a spur and the tailstock. You can hold the piece, mate, but you're between points. When you put that much weight just on a spur, or just on a screw chuck, or on a too small a faceplate, or hold it on with drywall screws. I had a conversation the other day with a guy about drywall screws. He does not like me anymore. If he liked me before, he doesn't like me anymore, because he took me to task about my term drywall screws.
I like the Craig screws with the coarse thread myself.
But they're not pardon me, Ruby, they're not drywall screws.
Correct.
Drywall screws are extremely brittle. They're made for one purpose, holding drywall up that gets no tension strength. no shear strength or anything else. It's made for a specific purpose. Everybody thinks it's a screw you can put in with a drill. Well, it shouldn't be put in with a drill. It should be put in with a screw gun, but to be put in with a drill motor or whatever, and it's easy and quick and they're cheap. Put all that together, the word safe doesn't fall in that category. And I used to install cabinetry for a business. I mean, that was, especially building was my construction company, and I installed casework all over the United States for schools and labs and stuff. And casework is just high priced kitchen cabinets. And I would always show when I showed up and I'd get supplies. If the contractor was providing supplies, he'd provide me with drywall screws. And I had to say, I can't use this. Oh, it works great. We use it all over the place. I'll sell you screws if you need screws, or I'll give you screws if it comes down to it. But I won't put them in with this because I can go to a cabinet. I can gun a screw in with a screw gun, a battery powered screw gun. And that was 15, 20 years ago, easy. And I could break those screws with my battery powered screw gun. How many did I break not knowing I broke them? And that's the thing about putting them in wood turning. You put them in, how close to the stress point did you get? How close to the failing? And then you're going to put a load on it? And what's going to happen when it comes loose? You just saw the video. It's going to kiss somebody. A second of time is not worth your life. Your life is not worth a second of time, one way or the other. But it's a scary thing that the way people think. I can save this or save that. Damn it, just save your life. Take it all away. I'm watching a guy a couple of doors down put trim on a house, and he's got trim screws for putting base, and they're a little and a half a step above a drywall screw. They won't break as fast, but they also will not flex. So, but he's putting the outside trim on, like that's not going to get under a stress. But guy seems to like what he's doing, and you can't judge everything everybody does, and it's not in rules. But please be careful. I want to go by the house and stand on it in case something falls off. Hope everybody's getting ready for Christmas. I want to say getting your decorations up, getting your shopping done. My decorations are up. There's about 10 Christmas cards. People were nice enough to send me Christmas cards this year. I don't do the Christmas card thing. But I got a lot of nice Christmas cards from folks. Well, most of them right here in the club. And my wife had me put a timer on the lights on a patio back, so they come on in the evening and stay on all night, etc. And she says, suppose we put a blinker on them. I said, I'd have to move. Really? We're looking at what the neighbors are doing, and then it's that time of the year. This is almost as bad as Halloween around here. Halloween, they get goofy. But hope you all been out and getting things done, getting ready for the family. It's that time of the year to spend with the family. If nothing else, spend a little time with the family. I want to ride over about 100 miles to my little sister's house. I'm going to go over to my little sister's on Friday and steal some eggnog or something.
Well, this year, because I didn't have room because of my husband's walker, what I opted for instead was this for a Christmas tree.
That's cute.
Just cut it out of some plywood, painted it, added a little snow on the base.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
So it'll work for now.
That looks
What kind of, I'm sorry, Eddie. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I got a neighbor down the street that works at Home Depot. And well, I see him in Home Depot. I don't think he really works. But he got some 1x2s of loplolly white pine. I think they come in shipping boxes because they're not good grade material. But he made some wooden Christmas trees where all the slats are stacked up and drilled one, and then he just twists them a little bit. But it took the time to spray paint them before he put them together. So, and it's a cute little wooden tree on his front porch. But he says that's his total expense, picking up scrap lumber out of the Home Depot. That's a cute tree.
I was going to ask the colors. Is that the chameleon colors? It looked like it moved and changed a little bit.
No, all I did was I went to the dollar store and I painted it a blue green, a dark blue green, and then they had some a jar of green sparkle stuff, so I painted that over top. And with the light, it just changes quite a bit.
That looks kind of cool.
Then I had
It
a couple of those little stick-on gems. So I decided on the top part, I flattened this area and just stuck them up there so that they look like they're an ornament or whatever.
Mhm.
That's
It looks
really
good.
pretty. Really pretty.
Got to show that technique to Matt Harbor. He might steal that idea.
That is pretty. That's very nice, Ruby.
Knowing Matt, he probably will.
I seen Matt saying, "Well, I did it on a corkscrew. I mean, on the ribbon finial." And I'm seeing more and more of those ribbon videos running around on Facebook. So it's a trend.
Yes, it
Absolutely.
is.
And I did somebody the other day in our club turned one that was flaring out a little bit, and then they trimmed it back. And then we had another one that was in two veins, came out in two veins. I think we saw it last week. And I saw that on Facebook this week. Somebody copied me on a photograph of a piece with it. So it's spreading like wildfire. It's so nice to see those kind of things spread around. That's probably here.
Yeah.
Did you see Tom Kinney's version? It's in our gallery where he did a ribbon finial and then he put a gold finial in the middle of it. It looks really good.
No, I hadn't seen that. It's in a WWW gallery.
In our gallery.
Oh, boy.
No, Jim, I didn't turn the tree. I thought about it, but decided it was easier to use a scroll saw.
Oh, okay. I got in late. I wasn't sure.
What happened was my husband has to use a walker and it takes up so much space. He has to have room to get by that this year I didn't have room to put up a real tree. And so this was my alternative. So
Well, that's great. Looks great.
thank you.
I wish I had a reason not to put this tree up, but I can't get out of it.
I enjoy putting a real tree up and then decorating it. It's a lot of work, but that's okay.
This is a fake tree because I used to get a needle in the end of my toe about July. And I said, I've had enough of this stuff. So we have all fake trees.
Jim's got a caterpillar on his lip.
I see that.
Oh,
I'm looking for a photograph. I just had him a picture of somebody, and he didn't have anything on his face.
well, I'm right behind you, Billy.
I'm still working on mine.
No.
Maybe
As far as
another 70 odd years and I might get it.
You look better without it, Ruby.
Yeah, no.
Well, thank you.
I don't know how long this is gonna last, but it's anyway. I do it every now and then.
On you.
When I was a little kid, my dad used to have my three brothers and I in the bathroom with him, and he'd put shaving cream all over all of us, and we'd all have razors without blades, and we'd all shave it off.
Mm.
I was about 6 when my mom informed me that I wouldn't be able to grow a beard. I thought life was pretty unfair because I had it all stylized how it was going to be then.
Yeah,
That's what happens when you grow up with only brothers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I hid behind mine for over 40 years.
I think I was in my mid-20s before I could ever really grow a good cookie duster.
Well, you know, the funny thing was none of my brothers were ever able to grow a beard. They couldn't even grow long sideburns.
Well, they're very fortunate.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't
Yeah.
think so, but
Yeah, I could only grow sideburns till I was about 30.
Yeah, I think we had a discussion about that early on in the meeting last week about boot camp and early on in your military career, always having to shave twice a day because you're out of reg come 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, not me.
Yeah.
I could shave every 3 days and still be in regs.
Good. I learned how to dry shave at 4 o'clock.
Yep. Me too. Much quicker that way.
And it's when I was in Guam in 72, it straightened me out when I lost some teeth. And the dentist guy says, "You gotta clean up that mustache." I took it off. And people said, "What are you going to re-up or what?" No, I'm going to get free dental care now. Because it was the source of it. I guess it was a source. I'm big and strong. I'm an animal troop. I got a mustache and all that. Until you made somebody mad, and then you gave one more reason to get on you, like a badge of ignorance.
well, I can't
Hmm.
picture you getting somebody mad at you.
On a regular basis.
Easy to do, isn't it, Eddie?
Well, it was. I had a book, a binder.
Fun.
I had a binder that on the front cover of it, a friend of mine had drawn a nice picture. It said, "Uncle Sugar's Flying Circus, Front Airplane Games and Rules." And I carried that with it to a meeting one day and got in a lot of trouble for it. And just because it was just, we were going to a meeting for a fun airplane game. I mean, we were all rehearsing for the Nazis or Russians or whatever coming to get us. To me, it was just a terrible waste of time and money where we didn't need to do it. And I guess I was being just angry. So, and you tend to get that way.
I was 14 and in high school, a teacher wrote a letter home to my parents, make him shave before he comes to school. Dad said, "You do whatever you want." So I grew a full-fledged mustache and beard. Got sent home, but I did it.
Good for you.
Yeah. It's part of growing.
Biggest mistake a teacher could make was calling my dad.
Oh, if they called my dad, I wouldn't be here today.
He'd tell him, "At home, he's my problem. In school, he's yours."
Mhm. This is not a made up story, but my dad was put out of school in 5th grade. He was 13 years old. He was in 5th grade. And they were just tired of him and just don't come back anymore. He'd had enough trouble, enough problems, everything else, just don't come back. And the teacher that put him out, Marie Gandolfin, was my high school principal. And I was there about a week when I got called into the office. And she says, "I don't know if you know who I am, but I know who you are. And we can leave it at that if you just keep yourself clean." That was it. I was there 6 years. Never had a problem with that lady. She was my best friend. But I learned one thing. Whatever my dad did, I'm not going to do.
There you go.
But it was one of these things. He had a philosophy in life. If it appears nobody's in charge, take over.
Hmm.
Right.
When I left for the Air Force that very morning, standing out in front of Waterbury's grocery drugstore downtown, that's what he said. My only piece of advice when you're leaving, if it appears that nobody's in charge, take over. All they can do is fire you.
Yep. Yeah,
Got
lead,
me.
follow, or get the hell out of the way.
Yep, it got me in a hell of a lot of trouble over the years, but it got a lot of things done my way over those years.
Yep.
I got a shrink today that tells me that could be the worst piece of advice he ever gave me. But, hey, I'm making her earn her money every day we meet. That's kind of a joke we go through. She says, "Did you ever have this and you ever have that?" I said, all that stuff. Don't worry about it. But it's we're at the point of our life to where they don't want you to rehash all the bad things in your life. They want you to rehash the things you wish you had never done in your life. And I'm asking, what is the difference between those? Well, the wishing that the things you never had you had done, those are routes that you took. You decided to go down those routes and it didn't work out. And why did you go there? Why did you do that? And so many times it was peer pressure, good friends, or just because he jumped off the bridge, I'm right behind him.
Yeah,
And
but now you can sit back and smile about it. If
yeah,
you didn't do it, you wouldn't have anything to smile about.
I'm thinking about that. We went scuba diving when I was in Vietnam. We climbed up I was a camera on babe. We climbed up in the mountains right off. The boat was off the back of the bomb dump and was going to go scuba diving. The guy said, "Let's jump in." Hey, I jumped in. I was not a very good swimmer. Guy named Willie Carr jumped in and saved my life because I was going to drown right there.
Yeah, but look at it this way. You have a memory that you still hold to this day.
Yeah.
Yep.
And a lot of times we make bad choices that end up being memories, and we learn something from them, but hopefully,
Yeah. You're right. That you learn from your mistakes. I mean, sometimes it's you don't learn quick enough, but
Some of us get very smart.
Hopefully you learn from your mistake.
I mean,
I
that's where
should be
you
a
get to wisdom.
genius by now.
I got it.
Right,
Got
right.
it.
Yeah. You learn from your mistakes and you grow from them. But Ruby's absolutely right. You learn from them and you benefit from them because you don't know if it's wrong unless you do it.
At this age, you're damn lucky you can remember
I'll agree with that.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's what I thought
Yes.
Ruby was trying to get at was,
More and more every
sometimes
day.
you make them and you don't remember them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
somebody else does it, and it triggers that memory. And you're like, oh yeah, I remember doing that. What a dummy.
them.
You drive by something, you see it, and say, "Oh man, cool! Did I really? I remember that." That's what you mean, Jim. And I don't. I got to be careful watching modern marvels because I see some of these building projects and stuff that they show you where things are going wrong, and I'm thinking, I did that. I work for contractors that said it won't hurt. It'll be all right. You'll I can do that. Can't you do that? That's as bad as here, hold my beer.
Yep.
Hey Eddie, we got a few gallery items already popping in. We're at the top of the hour.
Oh,
Drew, you feel like doing safety straight up?
I think well, let's do that because we had a little belief
Nice.
thing. Oh, I love the hair, Sue. I really do.
Plus we
And
need to see our blue hair.
Yes, the
Love it.
purple faded already, which well, it is what it is. So, anyways,
Gotta redo it.
also happy Hanukkah for those people that
Yes.
are of that persuasion. So, I want to talk about tool rest safety. You know, we're supposed to be getting that tool rest as close as we can without the item hitting it. Because we don't want a long space between the edge of the tool and the tool handle. So when you got a little vessel or a larger vessel, and it's deeper than what you really want to put that tool, they have these kind of tool rests. Now this is a small one, it's for my jet MIDI. But if I was to go into a bigger one, I just need to replace the post. But this works great if you're going into a vessel and still need to get a little bit in that bottom, but you don't want to go too far from the tool rest. This is an option for your tool rest.
Box tool rest.
Yes.
Doesn't it, when they take the vibration out of a tool reaching way down in there?
Oh yeah, by having this, because the tool is going to be just hanging off a little bit. See, if it's hanging out from here, you're going to get all kinds of vibration, and you could ruin your piece and doing all kinds of stuff. But with this, yeah, you're going to be perfect. Also, we mentioned it last week, and it's good to mention it again. If you're going to drill it with your Jacob's chuck, make sure that you're holding that Jacob's chuck so that the chuck doesn't get away from you or the bit doesn't all of a sudden free spin. That way you've got control and nothing's going to happen to you. So on those two fast safety things, be careful this week. Have a great Christmas and New Year's, and I hope to see you next week. Maybe
Absolutely.
with more.
Thank you. Right.
Thanks, Sue.
Hope so.
You're welcome.
Merry
And
Christmas, Sue.
Thanks,
to add,
thanks.
to add to the safety on drilling with your with the Jacob's chuck, it's not so much when you're drilling in because you've got the pressure going against your Morse taper when you're drilling in. It's
Coming
when
out.
you're backing out and clearing those chips. That's when you want to hold it on because you don't want it to turn into a whirligig and destroy your vessel, or more importantly, destroy your head.
I also want to report on Mark Soleil.
Oh, good.
I talked to him today, and he sounds fantastic. He's told me he's got a little bit of a slur, but he's working on that. And his right leg sometimes shakes, so he's put out stools by his lathe so that he can lean back on the stool because he could only turn for about an hour or two at a time. But he's doing good. He's still mailing out stuff if people order stuff from him. Not so much wood, but the blues and stuff, or anything else that you want from him. So he's doing great. Sounds good, and he's looking forward to a nice long life and coming down to visit everybody in Florida and wherever else he can get his wife to drive him. Because right now he can't. So there we are. He's doing great.
Good.
Great news.
Yes, for sure.
All right. So
Let's stay away in tonight's meeting.
let's go and do a little bit of gallery, and then we'll go do our demo here shortly. Let's see. Ruby, where are you? There she is.
I'm
Ruby.
right here. Okay, I made up a couple of little ornaments using sea urchins with some little lights that I got from Amazon. The design isn't quite perfect yet. I need to work on them, but they certainly do light things up quite a bit.
That's kind of cool.
That's
And
really
then,
cool.
well, I'll show you the little light that's inside. It's just a very small one. They use them to put inside of balloons and stuff like that, or paper lanterns. And they come with a tiny battery inside.
Nice.
Very cool.
You just make a hole that'll hold it, and then something that you can fit it on top of.
That's
That
really
is really neat.
That's neat.
That's really cool.
And then the other thing I made was I made this bowl,
Oh, that's cool.
I'm not sure why it ended up a pedestal bowl, but it did. It's out of a hard maple. And the interesting thing is that during the week it's been sitting on the table, the top rim has gone out of round somewhat.
Still looks
Do a
good.
little grain.
Yes, that's pretty though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really pretty piece of wood.
It
Yes,
is.
it is
Yeah, it
gorgeous.
is.
So
When somebody asks you how you got the top the way you did, just tell them it's a secret.
okay,
Very carefully.
that sounds good to me.
Don't tell me you're extremely talented. That's not the problem.
No, I won't tell them that. I'm just like everybody else. I don't have more talent than they do. So
All
It's
right.
a
Thanks,
trade
Bear
secret.
Ruby.
Proprietary trade
Right.
secret.
Yeah.
Hey, Billy.
Well, I finished those bowls that I worked on last week in my demo. This is that hackberry one, the spalted hackberry. I
Nice.
love spalted hackberry. It's absolutely beautiful. And the finish on this one is Hampshire sheen. And I went ahead and I laid some orange. I cut that bad spot of purple out and I laid some orange in. And I still had it chucked backwards. So to cut downhill with the skew, I had to cut left-handed. That didn't work so well. I ended up blowing 2 large chunks out of it. So I took it all out and started over. And this time I just used some black cord that I had, string,
okay.
if you will. I think it's nylon, and I also think it was waxed because it kind of acted like it was, which is why I finished it with Hampshire sheen instead of something else. But all in all, it came out. I'm very happy with it. It came out pretty nice.
Looks great.
About 3/16 wall thickness. And I finished the other one as well. That one I didn't do anything to. This is finished with lacquer. I went ahead and hollowed it out. It's about 1/8 of an inch. And I did put 2 burn lines on either side of the fabric.
Frame it.
Nice.
And
Good touch.
I'm really happy with how this little piece of oak came out. There's some pretty cool chatoyants inside both of these, but they're done and just something you can do.
Yep.
Yeah, the burn lines really set off the fabric.
They
Thank
did.
you.
Yeah.
I
it
thought
frames
so
it in
too.
Nice.
Both look good, Billy.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
watched you do that. That was wonderful on your post.
Oh, thank you.
I did a freeze frame of that with the piece. My wife still doesn't believe who did it with fabric.
Funny. All right. Thank you, Billy.
Thank
But
you.
really, by looking at that and knowing what you used, there's no way that I would believe it. I mean, it's. I mean, you know,
Well, yeah, it looks like, well, you can see some up close. You can see, I don't know if this will focus on the bowl, not me, stupid. Anyway, you can see the threads in the fabric if you look up close, but from a distance, it looks like it was painted, but it's not. Y'all saw it's not.
Yeah.
Yep. No, it's a great technique. It's a good method of embellishing and or
Yeah.
method to hide a flaw that you don't want seen. So
Yeah. You gave me some good ideas for down the road.
Yeah, very true.
again, thank you, Billy.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Mr. Johnson. Turn your video on. If y'all got galleries, turn your video on, please.
Okay, here it goes. I need to share the screen so that everybody can see this. Just a second.
Be aware, Mark Slade just entered the room. We're not safe any longer.
Let's see here. How do I share the screen here?
Howard, you got to turn your video on.
It is on.
No.
I
No.
still see me.
Oh, okay. Just a second. Just a second.
You got your microphone on only.
Okay. Start video. Okay. Come on. Okay. Tell you what,
I'll come back to you, Howard.
come back to me here in a little bit. I got to plug some stuff in.
Did,
All right.
did you take me off, Dane? Because I still see me.
Well,
highlighted.
yeah, I know. I'm trying to get to the
Okay.
next person here. So, see,
I
Rick
just see you too,
Barnes.
Billy. And it's all good.
Somebody up, please.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I'm ugly enough.
Yeah, usually pay
Just
extra
want to
for this.
add a little something to the earlier conversation. No good story ever starts with "Here, hold my salad."
You're right. That's the truth. All right, Rick, we got you.
All righty. Can you hear me all right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes, sir.
All
Yep.
right. After being out of the shop for a couple of years, I needed to refamiliarize myself with the tool. So I started out with some small things. There's some bottle stoppers that I did the last week. Then with the trying to get the Christmas habit.
Pull them back towards you, sir.
All righty.
There you go.
Oh,
There.
that matter? Yeah.
Yeah,
So I did
nice.
some little tea light Christmas decorations. Well, I got brave and I thought, well, I'm going to have to do something a little bit bigger. So
Oh, yeah.
There. Nice.
There you go.
did me
Very
a
nice.
chip dip bowl.
Yep.
Yep.
I'd promised a friend of mine 2 years ago I'd make him one.
Well, the only thing
And-
wrong with it is there's no dip and no chips in it.
Well,
Yeah.
I suppose when I take this to him, I should go to the grocery store first.
Yes.
But that was a challenge for me. I worked on it for 3 days before I got it done. It's the first thing I've done for 2 years, and I think I'm proud of it.
Oh,
And
it's
you,
nice.
you
It
should
should
be,
be.
Rick.
Yeah,
Nice
right.
job.
You
Well,
should be.
really.
Looks great.
Thank you.
All right. Howard, are you ready?
You betcha. I'm here.
All right.
we go.
Let me-
Yeah.
Hey,
Gotcha.
I got a
lost him.
vase. Hello.
I don't see him.
Come on. There we go. There we go.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let you look at me. I'm too ugly. But I need to share. I made a vase and it's not with me. It's in Las Vegas. But I did make a video of it, so I kind of like to share it with you. How would I go about doing that? I got it open.
Well, you want to play it off your computer screen?
Yes.
Well, you'd have to move your camera up so we can see your.
Let's see.
Screen.
Where's it? Just a second here. Okay. Let's see. Where's it at? It didn't make it. I tell you what, technology just does not do well with me.
There it is.
All right, we got a
There it is.
picture. Of
Oh,
the
you
face.
got it? You got it?
Very nice.
There you go. That's it.
Pretty.
It's made out of elm, and I got contacted by a fellow wanted me to make a vase for his daughter for the wedding. So I went ahead and found me a piece of elm sitting out there and turned this little dude out. And the part in the middle is a transient dye. It's a mixture of yellow and blue, kind of give it that turquoise color. And then the bottom and top is actually gray acrylic paint that I rubbed on because I couldn't get any gray dye. So that's how I made that. And of course it's got some scorch grooves in it. And then I finished it all off with matte enamel. And I went ahead and coated the inside with resins to make it waterproof for everybody. So anyway,
Well done.
I thought it kind of turned out pretty good.
Beautiful.
So.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Okie dokie.
Good job. Well
Thank
done.
you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now let me
All
get out
right.
of this dumb, let me get out of this dumb thing. Here we go. Boom. There we go.
Let's see.
And
Craig.
where am I?
Hey, Craig.
There I am.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, you'll pop up here in a moment.
All right.
Hit the stop screen share, Howard.
Okay. Let me find the crazy thing at. Where's it at?
Hello,
Okay,
all.
you did it.
There we
Yeah,
go.
we got you.
Well, ever since I can't remember who did it, but it was using the coffee grounds and tea grounds and stuff to fill in cracks and imperfections. I've been doing a lot of that. One of the things I did too was I went to a locksmith and I got a jar. I got a jar of filings from making keys. And this bowl here, this is the first one for this month. But
Nice.
if I don't know if you can really see the
Right there.
gold color in there,
Yep.
but I did it on the inside as well as the outside.
Very nice.
And on those there,
Well
and of
done.
course,
Beautiful.
a
piece
different
of wood.
bottom.
Very nice.
But I love it when I'm able to leave the bark on there for part of the aesthetics on it.
Mhm.
But I've got another one, but I can't touch it because I just put another coat of polyurethane on it, so I can't show you the in progress.
We'll be here next week.
Yeah, I will too.
That was nice. Very nice.
Very
Yeah,
good.
thank you.
Thanks for sharing there with Craig.
Anytime, Dane.
Went to a locksmith and got the grindings. That's a smart move.
And one little tip on the coffee grounds and the filings, if you get an old coffee grinder, a little electric coffee grinder that you can grind espresso with, you can put that in, and it doesn't do a whole lot, but it will make it a little bit more powder.
Mhm.
But when I put the either the filings or the coffee grounds in, I carve the area a little bit just to make sure I have more room for the stuff to put in it. But I'll put the grounds in and I'll tap them in there pretty tight, and then put another layer. Then I'll use the CA glue, and then I cover the whole thing, the wet CA glue, with more of the powder or the filings, and press on that to try to press into the groove a little bit more.
Did you run a magnet through the filings?
No, I didn't.
You want to be careful using key filings. Some of them keys are made out of some real good steel. And if you don't run a magnet through them and you glue them in, you hit it with a good tool, it'll take a chunk out.
Oh, that's a
Not
good
out of the
idea.
wood, out of the tool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I understand.
About 90.
Not that it happened to
90.
Charlie. He just read about it, and not that it happened to him.
Yeah, it never happened. No.
About 95% of those key filings are steel. So
As I was saying, a locksmith is the place to go, because at Home Depot and Lowe's, they're not going to be
No,
soft.
they use those machines now. They can't even get into the filing box.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
it is a favor.
thank
They
you,
don't
Craig.
do favors.
No.
All right, let's go to our editor. He's got something to show. And I think he's got some comments to make too. Hey, Joaquin.
I do. So this is a piece of spalted elm.
Groovy.
I love the feet.
I just, I was turning and I was thinking calabash and then I was just, as I got closer to the bottom, I was just like, you know what? I don't do feet. So let's give it some feet.
There you
And
go.
I was able to maintain a consistent wall thickness, about 1/8 of an inch all the way through to the bottom. It's real consistent. I'm pretty happy with this little guy.
Nice.
And,
Yeah, it's got a nice shape and form to it.
It really does.
it's
Looks great,
fairly
Joaquin.
green.
I love the color.
So I'm really interested in what it's going to do. You can already see it starting to misshape a little bit, as the moisture's leaving it. So I'm hoping it kind of gets a little bit funky over the next week or so, but it's pretty thin, so it should dry fairly quickly. So that's what I got off the lathe today. Now I want to show you guys something and explain why I keep posting and saying send pictures. Send pictures. So hang on just a second here. Maybe. Oh, there it is. This is where the newsletter is at for January 3rd, which is going to be the first edition of Wood Turners Worldwide. And I have one image from everyone who submitted imagery. Now, several of you have submitted multiple images, and that's fantastic. But the goal in covering the year in review 2023 is that we get to see work from as many of the club as possible. So as you can see, if I fill 14 pages, I've still got 6.5 pages worth of space to put images from individual turners. Email your pictures as attachments to editor@worldwidewoodturners.org, and I will get them in there. But when we the only repeat artist is Heather, and Heather, I hope I don't mess up your last name, Heather Budarek, because she did send in an article as well. But I'm trying to represent as many of us as possible, rather than as many images, as many individuals versus as many images as possible, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I've got enough images, I can fill the whole paper. If I use 3 from, say, Billy Burt and, 4 from another artist, if I do that, I can fill it up.
You're
I'd really
doing the
like
right
to have
thing.
more of us represented. What was
Right.
that question? Sorry.
No, you're doing the right thing. That sounds great.
And,
also, so if a person, and so not to cut you off, Joaquin.
Yeah.
So if a person wanted to have, get one image in, if you wanted to do a collage, you use the collage function, and you drop in 4 photos in one attached picture, then you got 4 of your items in one picture. So if a person wants to do that, they could.
As long as it's at least 300 dots per inch, 300 DPI,
Right.
so it's high enough quality. Now, something I'll point out about this, let me show you guys. Maybe, it's not, okay. Well, no, that should work. Hang on a second.
Where do
Okay,
we
you can
find
see
the
the
newsletter?
outlines. You can see this outline right here. This is the outline that is essentially universally printable. I would love to lay this out full page bleeds and things. But my goal here is that anybody anywhere in the world can take the PDF and print it and put a staple in it and stick it on their coffee table. Okay. So as much as I'd love to do full page bleeds and cross gutter and everything, that not everybody can print it that way. So I'm trying to keep this as completely accessible to as many people as possible.
Nice.
So where can we see the newsletter?
It's January 3rd. It comes out.
How's it coming out? It'll be on the website.
It'll be posted as a file on the Facebook page. And it'll be on the website where you can download. And it'll be, I'll also post it as a general attachment on the Facebook page.
Awesome. Because we don't have necessarily an email like
Don't
mail.
do an email list for that. No.
Yeah. Okay. But
I'll
it'll
tell
be
you,
like,
layout
again,
look-
available to anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Well done.
And we need to point it out. When he says anybody, what he really meant is everybody.
Absolutely. Yes.
I mean, make a copy and bring it to your club meeting. Put it on a work table at your office. Give it to your friends. spread it around. We want it to go around. Send a copy by email to all your friends, all your family. Put it on your Facebook
social.
page. Put it on your spread it, spread it, spread it. However you can get it out there, get it.
And somebody just said something that reminded me of something. A lot of you sent me like 5 or 6 photos, and in those cases, I picked the most appealing photograph, not necessarily the most appealing piece. So I want to, again, what I'm trying to do is make this visually exciting so people want to look at it, want to pick it up, want to know about it, what is going on here, you know, and start a conversation. So I'm trying to use some of the more visually appealing photos. Might not necessarily be your favorite piece. That doesn't mean it's not going to end up in a future newsletter. When I have all those extra photos and I need some filler over the next months to come, I can always go back and grab one. And the other thing is when you do email it, if you have a business name or whatever, and that's what your email is attached to, I'm still learning faces and names. Please make sure that you tell me who you are to credit the photo. I need the artist's name, the woodturner's name.
Yes. Very good, Joaquin. You're doing a killer job so far.
Thank you.
Joaquin, I emailed you a note I got from, I gotta check the name.
John
John
Moore, I
Moore
took care of
this
it.
morning. You took care of it?
care of it.
Okay, because I cannot open that on my machine.
Oh, yes, Eddie, thank you. Yeah, and hopefully we get a demo out of that, Eddie. It's pretty neat. So
I'm interested to see it, but on the machines I'm using right now, I cannot open it.
Well, it's a slideshow. I can't use it in the newsletter, which is why I'm hoping that Dane can convince the guy to do a demo, because it's a cool idea. Right. It's really cool.
All right. So it's growing.
How to. So there was a question that just popped through. How do I determine what my photo size is?
That's a really good question, and it depends on what equipment you're using. I can tell you what the settings are on an Android phone, or I can tell you what the settings are, say, on a Nikon camera. But if you're using an iPhone, I can't tell you because I don't use iPhones.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, if you're taking a photo with your iPhone or your Android, it's going to be the optimum quality.
Yeah, you want basically the optimum quality, which should generate about 300 DPI as a rule. JPEGs are great. If you're doing a collage, whatever software you're using to put all the photos together should have settings. You should have document settings that'll show you what it's going to send as like a PNG or JPEG, and it's going to show a setting that you can click that shows DPI. As long as that's set to 300, that should work. Another thing, and this is on my Android, I don't know if you guys will be able to see this or not, but I have this little dot right there. It says, I lost it. Hang on a second. Oh, I bumped it. It says 12M. That's 12 megapixels. And this phone will shoot up to 108 megapixels, which is an absurdly detailed photo. So you should be able to do some kind of a setting where you can change the amount of megapixels, increase them, and you should be able to change aspect ratings. I post a lot on Instagram, which wants square photos, so it's 1:1, but you should be able to change aspect ratings. So that would be the entire size 19:6 of the phone. You can change all of that. In your camera app, you should have access to all of those different kinds of settings. Let's see. It should be in the actual camera interface. You should have some version of this where you've got little choices you can make. And as long as you just got it set for 8 megapixels or higher, honestly, The lowest I can set this camera is 12, and they're very detailed photos. You can zoom in almost 300%. So when you send it, it should send as a JPEG, and it should be as a default 300 DPI.
Yeah. So it should be good to go. And then copyright.
Okay. So the other thing, let me share this again so I can show you guys what it looks like. There is a licensing and copyright standard called Creative Commons. And there are several different levels of it. But what this is by registering this as a Creative Commons license, this is open permission with this specific license for anyone to print and distribute the newsletter. However, they must give credit, meaning they have to leave that Worldwide Woodturners on it, wherever it's at. They cannot sell it, and they cannot alter it, or they cannot alter it. So this is legal permission through international copyright treaties that anybody can print it and share it, but nobody can make money off of it, and nobody can take pieces out of it and change it legally. That protects us if somebody does decide they want to take it. The other thing that we need to be very careful of, say you read something you really liked and you wanted to get it into the newsletter. Unless you have written permission from the author for us to use it, if you didn't write it, it's not legal under copyright laws for us to use it. And we have to remember, this is a worldwide club, and other countries have different copyright laws. Creative Captions or Creative Commons is licensed throughout multiple countries in the world, and that protects us as far as somebody saying, oh, you can't use my image. If you submit the images, that is implicit copyright permission. So if you see it on somebody's coffee table in London and go, how'd you get this? It's because they have a Creative Commons license to print it. Written material, and I've already discussed this with Heather. I'm going to draft up a release form that just says I'm submitting original work to the Worldwide Woodturners for the magazine, for the newsletter. They have blanket permission to reproduce it, which is essentially the same thing as the Creative Commons. But basically, what you're doing is by giving that permission, you're surrendering your copyright for the open use of that article in our newsletter. And again, we just want to, the way things are in the world today with Chat GPT writing documents and writing people's school reports and things, we need to make sure that we cover
our bases as much as possible.
Yeah, we need to cover our bases.
So in the crux of everything, don't be copy and pasting from somebody else's article and claiming it as your own. You know, to put it bluntly, Joaquin will be running it through a couple different checks. I'll be running it through a couple different checks, and you know, first offense, and that it's over with on that end of it. So let's, you know, let's all be good about it.
Yeah, we're interested in your original work, and we have several members who write articles and submit them to magazines for pay. We can't use those articles unless the magazines give them permission, and there's all kinds of copyright questions. We need original work, so that we can make sure. Well, first of all, so that we're producing something that nobody else is, that, you know, so that what we do is unique, but also so that everybody's covered as far as copyright. Copyright in the digital world right now is very challenging to navigate. So we're trying to make sure that we cover all our bases.
Well said. All right. Do a couple more galleries, and then we're going to go do our demo. How's that sound, folks?
Sounds good.
All right, let's see. Leonard. Got you next. Hey, Leonard.
How you doing?
Good, good.
So I'm actually not doing so good. I've got COVID, so I haven't spent a whole lot of time, but I started this and I wanted to kind of show it because I don't know if I'll be around next week. But I went through and tried to do something a little bit different. This is I don't know, 12th, 13th piece that I've tried on the lathe because I just got mine a few months back.
Yeah.
I haven't put a finish on it yet, but it's kind of an interesting,
Yeah, a little natural edge.
yeah. So
Pretty.
Great
That's
skill.
looking
builder.
good.
That looks neat. That's really pretty looking, Leonard.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it is.
Oh.
Looks good, Lynn.
So
What's the wood on it?
it's a piece of elm.
Piece of elm.
That's
and
pretty.
The only thing I got on it is OB shine juice right now. I haven't actually put any type of finish on it because I haven't finished the bottom yet. So, but
Well done. Kick that COVID's butt.
working on it. It's actually going through the family, so it's been a
Bummer.
rough week here. So it doesn't look like we're gonna have much of a Christmas. It'll be
Oh no.
kind of,
That was us last year.
yeah.
Well, feel better, buddy.
Thank you.
You know, worst case, just go out in the shop and make sawdust.
Well, it's been my head and my chest have been bothering me, so I really haven't done a whole lot of that.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, understandable.
but
All right. Well, feel better, buddy.
I think you'll find that there'll be a respirator in your lifestyle after this is over.
oh, I have one. I wear one the full time, and I'm a home improvement contractor, and I'm constantly masked up. But I'm just don't want to take any chances with it. Just want to get over it as soon as possible.
Yep.
Yep.
Understandable. All right. All right. Let's go to Kentucky. Let's see what Doug's got. Hey, Doug.
All right. Hey, everybody. It's good to see you. First off, let me say again, I know I've posted it, but let me say I'm sorry I made a mistake. It was not intentional. So that's that. I showed you all quite a while back, and you may or may not remember it, but I bought 5 of these little black limba blanks. They were 4 inches diameter, 2 inches tall. And my first one was just a simple open bowl. Second one was a calabash, closed form, round bottom. Then we turned a box. I may have even turned this one for you all live. I don't know. Then I did a vase. It's a hollow form that I added this little red mallee burl, made a vase of it. And so I didn't do the 5th one for a long time. Excuse me. I just could not wrap my head around a 5th form. And that was the whole idea. I wanted to do 5 turnings, 5 different turnings with very similar blanks. And so yesterday I was able to come up, did a trumpet shape there. You can see, well, let's see, I'll get it. You can see the shape there, kind of a trumpet shape. There's that same black mallee or black limba wood inside. Came out real nice. The outside, all of these are finished the same way. Sanding sealer, buffed back with abrasive paste, and then wax put on top of that. And they all feel, from the first one to the last one, they all feel identical. Just a lot of fun. But anyway, it was a good exercise to come up with 5 different designs of the same size blank and just work through all of those. I went through Etsy the other day just to try to figure out, and I found all kind of possibilities. But this was the one I settled on, this nice trumpet shape. Turn it upside down, you can see it better, I guess, because the light reflects on it. So anyway, that's my big one for this week. There was a lot of other things turned, but this is the only one I've still got in my possession. Everything else has gone out the door. So that's that for tonight. Thank you.
Those look great,
Right
Doug.
on.
Well
Thank you,
done,
Doug.
Doug.
All right. Let's see. We've got a member who wants to address the group. Let's see. Gary, we got you now.
I'm here. Oh, you got Gary. Okay.
My name's Gary Beers. I am the current first vice president for SWAT. I know a lot of you have gone to SWAT. This year, I am the individual that is taking applications for regional demonstrators. If you have an interest to be a regional demonstrator, email me at gbeers, and that's spelled just like you drink if you drink, jr@hotmail.com, and I'll send out an application. It doesn't guarantee that you'll be selected to be a demonstrator, but it gives you an opportunity to maybe demonstrate in front of a different group than what you're used to demonstrating in front of.
Okay, can you put that in the chat, please?
Sure.
Especially your email address, because we're all old and slow. You gotta write it down.
But that would be something good to put in our newsletter.
Yes, it would. Could you also email that to the editor? Gary?
Yes, please email that to editor@worldwidewoodturners.org.
Sure, I'll do that too.
All right, thank you.
But here's my email.
Do you think Gary would be setting up our table for us next year at SWAT? I mean, we gotta have that table for the club. I mean, right in the middle of the dining area. Yeah, Gary, you saw us last year. We're right in the middle of the dining, straight out from the podium. The wrong head shake. Wrong head shake. You're supposed to go up and down. Okay, there you go.
What I'm trying to do is find out who was saying that, because I have like 15 screenshots showing right now, and that's just on one page.
Yeah, this is Captain Eddie.
Yeah, I see you. You're right in the middle, Captain.
Okay, I'm the instigator, or was he, or whatever. I'm normally called the blame. But we make a big show at SPOT. We did this year, and we will next year. We'll bring all our members, go there. We get together, and we're not going to take over, but we know SWAT's a great place to be and a great bunch of folks to hang out with. It's a good opportunity, folks. Don't pass it up.
Yep, I've got the table centerpiece already.
See that?
Gary, you said regional. What are you meaning by that? A regional demonstrator.
There are two types of demonstrators. There's the regional, which are folks like you all. I mean, Jim Duxbury has been a demonstrator. I know because he demonstrated for CTWA a couple of years ago.
Right.
I don't know if he was a lead demonstrator or a regional, but they call them leads and they call them regional demonstrators. Like Cindy Drozda this past year was a lead demonstrator. I can't tell you who else was
Scott
a lead.
Hampton. So
Scott Hampton was a regional demonstrator.
Right, Scott Hampton
and
was
he's
a regional demonstrator.
And he's one of our members.
So that's I really can't tell you the difference between lead and regional, except that when SWAT does their advertising, they definitely put out there who the lead demonstrators are, the 7 or 8 of them that get selected.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
You demonstrate in a bigger room.
So I got a question. Who determines lead or regional?
The president determines the lead. I determine the regional.
Oh, okay.
So on the application form, it says you have until February 11th to give me the application. It's to my email address or mailed to my personal address. And the regional demonstrators will be selected and notified by the end of February.
Right on.
I've been all three. The regional, you get a small room downstairs. The professional gets a bigger room upstairs. And they used to have backups. Do you still have backups?
I think there are contingency backups.
I was a backup one year. Yeah.
Just to let you know, Jim, all the rooms are now upstairs where it used to be the instant gallery.
Oh, that's right.
They moved that into one of the Brazos rooms. So they took and made that instant gallery into 3 separate rooms. They used their dividers. So it'll be let's see, I think it's the South Brazos is going to be instant gallery, and the North Brazos, and it could be the other way around. Is
Mhm.
going to be a different a room than the 3 rooms. Excuse me, that the old instant gallery used to be. And there's also going to be the Bosque, which is normally where the pen and the smaller turnings are done.
First class place to demo, great lighting, sound. They've done it many times, and it's just a first class place to demo.
Well, this is great. Really appreciate you making this announcement, Gary.
Well, you're very welcome.
Definitely.
I'm trying to behind the 8 ball. I should have made this announcement a long time ago. But
No, that's okay. Better late than never, right? Got plenty of
Right.
time. I'm sure you're going to generate probably 15, 20 applications just from this little
I hope
briefing
so.
here. And then Dave Rhodes, can you clip this out as a separate little clip it video for the webpage and the YouTube?
I absolutely will.
Outstanding. All right, sir. Anything else you got for us, Gary?
No, thank you for letting me cut in and have let y'all know.
Well, Gary, you don't
Oh,
have
no,
any
no,
show
no.
and tells, Gary? Come on, Gary. Have you been turning anything, Gary?
As
I heard that.
Kelly Shaw can tell you, I owe our club at least 100 bringbacks.
No, it's only 6.
Huh?
Is it 6? And
Well, Kelly, he just upped the ante.
and I haven't turned anything in a year plus.
That's actually a lie. You've turned some pens within the year.
Yeah, I turned some pins. And
Don't count, right, Gary?
oh, they count. I just didn't think about those. And if anybody plays pool, my son plays pool, and he wanted an extension turn for his pool cue. So I turned that, but he ended up breaking it. So I got to turn him another one eventually. Those are a pain in the butt because they have to be exact measurements.
Great.
But again,
All right,
thank
good
you.
stuff.
Thank you for letting me jump in and
Hey, no problem. Well, your haircut kind of resembles mine, so I had to let you jump in. So no worries.
I think Matt Harbor would make a really good regional demonstrator next year.
Yeah, I believe so. Speaking of Matt
he's
Harper,
going
what
to.
what an awesome segue.
Yeah,
The whole lot of you are volunteering me for stuff here. I haven't even
Matt,
agreed to yet.
Matt, I'm just, Kelly and I are just looking out for you. That's all.
And Matt, you can stop and pick up Duxbury on the way.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it's a hell of a lot warmer than where you're at.
Right?
That's a fact, man. That's a fact.
All right.
Never been so
All right,
hot.
folks. Matt's going to
It's
be
not
doing our
that
demo
it's not
tonight.
that cold up here.
Okay.
It's
So
not. It
Matt's-
was in 40s today. But
It
it
was
didn't get out of
almost
the
50 today.
People. So Matt's doing our demo tonight. He's got something really cool and unique in store for us tonight. He's going to be doing it his way, how he turns it, with his methods and his processes. So please keep all comments and questions until the end of the demo, unless Matt wants to solicit questions and comments during his demo. In the meantime, I am going to mute everybody. Matt, please unmute yourself.
All right. How's my audio?
You sound great, Matt.
Okay.
Your video looks good too. It's not doing much on the peripheral, but you're all good.
All right. Thanks. So tonight's demo is actually sort of 2 demos together, and it's all based on stuff that Alan Stratton has done. So let me switch over to this and show you my little presentation here. So what I'm going to be demonstrating is how to make the top part of the sea urchin ornament here. And it is mostly turned. There is some carving to enhance things and some sanding, but the top bit is turned multi-axis on the lathe. But the two parts, and let me switch to this part of it. The two parts are first turning the ball itself, and it uses the octagon method, and Alan Stratton's video is here. And then there's turning the multi-axis ornament, which is also an Alan Stratton video, and that video is here. And I want to give him full credit for this because this is where I got it all from. Any questions on that to start off with? Okay.
I'm going to say no.
All right. All right. So I'm going to be using just a few tools here. I'm going to be using primarily my deep fluted bowl gouge, which you all know and love. And I have a small deep fluted bowl gouge also. And I may use was once a spindle gouge, but is now a detail gouge. And what I've done with that is, let me switch to a different camera here. What I've done with that is I've rounded off the sides. I swept back the shoulders and steepened the grind a little, but it was once upon a time a small spindle gouge. Okay. I don't have a direct need to use much of anything else tool wise. I have a series of jigs I've built. So this one is this is a 3/4 inch tenon on this one, and it's got a tenon for my jaw chuck on the end. And it's just a scrap piece of wood. And this also has a tenon for my chuck on one end, and it's a very steep cone with basically a 1/8 inch knob on it started as a cone, but I've abused it, so it's smaller than just a cone. And I will also use an index wheel that I will show as well, and that it just sits behind my chuck. It's one I made myself with a protractor, some stuff I printed off the internet, and I will use the little thing to index it with. Okay. So what I have here is a piece of box elder. It is turned. It's just a simple cylinder. It is exactly 3 inches in diameter. I just made it that way for convenience. And I've laid down a line here. I don't know if you guys can see that in the center here. Let me make it darker. I don't know. Can you all see that? Yeah, it's showing up. Okay.
Yeah, you can see it.
All right. Let me switch over here to this and go to the next page. The octagon method is a method for turning a sphere. And basically what you do is you start off making an octagon, and you're looking for the numbers you need are all based on and I've done all the math so that you don't have to. So each side of the octagon is all the same length. So that's S in this diagram. And it's basically diameter times 0.4142. And the letter T here, which you see on the top of this, is basically just side cut in half. And I'll show you why you need that. And then I don't know if you can see the little letter A to the left of that. That's the distance between the top side and the left side or the right side. And I'll show you how we use those. So, and right next to it, we've got a little example here. And in retrospect, I should have made it 2 instead of 4, but I can do that anyway. All right. So, trick number 1, I downloaded an application called, this is on my phone, an application called Sheets, which is basically a spreadsheet application. And I built a little spreadsheet to do that. And so can you guys see that, the numbers?
Yep. Yes,
So,
we can.
Yep.
Okay, so thanks, Ruby. So what I've done is I put my diameter in here, which is 3 inches, and it's calculated the rest of it for me. I've just basically used the numbers right from there. And then the second column in gray is times 32, so I can tell how many 32nds of an inch it is. And I can decide, if it's, I don't know, 19.88 30 is really close to 20 30, which is 10/16, which is 5 5/8, I guess. So what I do is I start with this center line for my spear. And then I take the side number. Show up. The side number, I'm taking this one here, T, which is 0.62 inches, which is 20, 30 seconds. So that's my second measurement. Where's that? I've lost my, there it is. Okay, so and that number is
5/8.
5/8. Yep. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's right there. And I'm going in either side of my center line here. Wait a minute. Did I do that wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one's right. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll do 8s. That's right. Okay. So these two lines are either side of my pentagon. So that's this width is the top side of my pentagon. That's how I get that. So the next number that I'm looking for is the other one, which is 28 30-seconds, which is 14 7/8. So I go out here 7/8, which should be this line here. And it is. Okay, so going back to the diagram here. So this distance is S or TT, and this distance is A, and this distance is also A, and this is the size of my spear, which is also 3 inches across from here to here. Oops, I was pointing to the wrong one.
We're on the slide. Okay.
Yeah. So this distance was T and T, and this is A, and this is the side of my spear. This is 3 inches in diameter, 3 inches across here. So I'm 3 inches in diameter and 3 inches across. So that's where I start. Now we're going to actually make some cavings. So these outside lines are the outside of my spear, so I turn those down. Now, I also have to turn it down to be, so it's the side width. So I'm going to go, I've got this set to 1.25 inches, which is basically the side, it's that distance there, okay? But I'm going to turn this down to this diameter. Made a mistake, I'm also using a parting tool. And my target diameter is this All right, so that's where I am. I'm going to clean up those edges a little bit. And because I'm going to be using this as a tenon, I'm going to clean that up too. Questions so far?
All good, Matt.
All right. We got a little bit of my line here, so I'm gonna clean this up a little bit more here. All right. Now, the next step is to take this down to this line here and this down to this line here, making basically a 45-degree slant and forming the sides of the octagon there that way. I'm gonna use my deep fluted bowl gouge to do that. Okay. Now, next is to begin to round things. So what I've got to do now is bisect both of these. Cut these in half, and then cut them in half again. Ah, that was slipped on me there. Now, this is just one way to make a sphere, of course. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take this ridge off, and then these also. All I'm doing is making flats. Now, the next one gets tricky because this has got to go down here and begin to round my sphere this way. Jeez.
You got this.
And then you just simply round the sphere off. Now, while I've got this line here in the middle, I'm going to pull a section, and that's not a very good sphere, but it's close. I'm going to pull a section out of the demonstration for the multi-axis stuff, and I'm going to start marking my right now. I'm going to put this little doohickey on here. Any questions while I'm doing any of this?
Nothing in
What-
chat.
All right. So what this is, and I'll show you this from the side here. This is my lathe index, and I've got a little pin, looks like that, and it goes into the little holes here in my indexer, like that. Quite where I want it here, but basically you get everything tight. That's not where I want it. Yeah, that's better. Let's use this one here. You just base pin indexes and then you tighten everything up and it holds up really well. Now, what I'm going to do, switch to this overhead again. I'm going to mark 16 points, but I'm only going to drill 8 of them. And those 8 are going to be my, my axis of rotation. All right. And I'm doing, and in my notes, like I did this one way, and then I did it, and then I've been rethinking things all afternoon. So in my notes at the end of the presentation, and I'll switch you over to that right now so you can see it. Notes at the end here. I've talked about pulling the step 3 from the marking and drilling the holes into this section of the making of the spear section. And I also plan to mark the interim centers. And here's a picture of my little chucks that I'll use later to hold things. So things are done in one sequence in the main set of steps for the demo, and then I'm doing them in a slightly different sequence right now, and I wanted to put them both in case somebody wants to try this a couple different ways. I think that the way I'm doing this now, marking the centers right now, I think that this will actually give me more precise centers and stuff, but we'll find out. Questions, concerns, discussion?
Nothing at the moment.
Suppose that's a good thing, yes?
Yes, it is. Everybody's enthralled.
Or asleep. I know you guys. Yeah. All right, let's make sure I didn't miss something here while I was talking. Yeah, I missed one.
Yeah, best to get it now.
Yeah, and I wanted to get this all, so what I'll do now is I'm going to circle the ones I'm going to drill. I'm skipping every other one. These holes are all going to go away at one point or another, and you'll see why. And they'll go away, either if they don't go away, well, they will go away when we turn them. But these ones will go away in sanding too. So you'll see it at the end. So I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 circled. Okay, that's good. All's well with the world. Okay, so I'm going to drill these now too while I have the chance. And what I'm going to do, the drill I'm going to use for these 1/8-inch drill. Curiously enough, that's exactly the size that my little chuck fits. And I keep a power drill on the lathe for just such an eventuality. You know what? I'm going to mark these first. This is a spring punch. You just find your location here and push it in to get a hole. All right. So at some point, we're going to be coring out the center of this too. So, and these will all go away. So okay. All right. So the next step is I'm going to be cleaning both of these ends out. And I'm going to need a tenon on this side for holding it while I drill this end out. And then I'll cut a small tenon on this side to hold it while I drill this one out, and you'll see how that works. I can see what I'm doing. All right. Tenon for the pin jaws. And I want this to go away. So I'm going to bring this down a bit. All right. Yep. So I have a stick for getting stuff that went under the lathe because I can't get back there. Very useful piece of kit. It's got a hooked end and it's long. It's got a handle. I could push in dust gates that I can't reach either. Okay, questions so far?
No, nothing.
All right.
I have one, Matt. What's the purpose of those holes you drilled if they're just going to go away?
The purpose is the purpose is to mount. So those are going to be our access mount. So we're going to mount and turn on each of those sets of holes. All right. So I'll show you. Let me switch here. So this is our piece as we had it, right? Or it was like this, no big deal. So at some point we are going to mount between each of these holes and turn it this way. And then we're going to mount between holes and turn it this way and so on. Okay.
Gotcha.
Make that big enough. Really in there good. This is a
Good
tool
thing it's-
tip. I drilled this out and put a magnet in it so I can stick it anywhere. Yeah. I turn as much of this off as I can. It's going to be in the way. Let's use. It's messy. Now, I don't know if I can turn that up enough to get it in the chuck better. Yeah, well, let's just call it a day. All right, so the next step is to get a Forstner bit in here and drill that out. So I do that with a Jacobs chuck and a 3/4 inch Forstner bit. Looks like that. But before we do that, let's make this a little more amenable to a Forstner bit. Turn your lathe off before you move your tool rests. Not like I just did. So I'm going to only be taking this a little bit past halfway. So it's about that far. It's about to the end of this. You can't see that. It's about to the end of this blue piece of tape here. Okay. So I'm only going to do this half of it, and then I'll switch it, and I'll turn a little tenon here and switch it around. I'll do the tenon right now. So I want a little tenon to hold this to turn the other side. So I'm going to turn a little tenon here to hold this. Then I'm going to drill this out. Okay. Pop this off here. Pop this off of here. Switch back to the other chuck. Hey, Billy, were you the guy that came up with the magnet inside the little magnet inside the to make the put a knob on a magnet and make it a stop for your lathe? Is that
No.
you? Okay.
Was not.
Might have been Scott Tague then.
I think it was Bob Moffett.
Well, I don't know who it was, but I love it.
Birdhouse Bob.
Yeah, no, I wish I'd have thought of that though. I just the little guard alongside the spindle lock. I just drilled a hole through it and stuck a nail in it.
Ah, makes sense. All right, so this will get, and I got to get rid of this stuff here. This sphere is clearly not my best sphere. I apologize in advance. Take some time, make a better sphere.
Ain't nothing but a thing, Matt.
That's right.
Keep in mind, it's only a demo. That's when it's going to happen.
Well, I have a temptation to clean it up myself, and I'm looking at it thinking, man, that's no good. All right, I got to clean that up a little bit more.
What in nature is perfect, Matt?
You know,
several of us can relate.
Not
Right.
much is, but on the other hand, one can actively work to achieve that perfection, realizing that one never makes it, but it's still, the pursuit is a worthy cause.
Yes, it is.
But you're trying to recreate nature, making it look like a shell. So those shells aren't perfectly round.
That's very true. Very true.
That was my point.
Yep. You're not wrong. As was discussed, I'm holding on to my duck, and I'm removing it. They're cleared out, so I'm through all the way. So that's okay. All right. So the next step now, we're going to start turning on the multi-axis. So what I've got right now is I've got a through, maybe not, it is through all the way. It's through all the way. It's kind of messy in there. Forstner bits get them left a little bit of stuff in there to be desired. So I've got a whole, this is going to be my top and my bottom of my multi-axis piece. The thing to do now is to switch it to using the multi-axis chuck. And for that, I'm going to bring this guy on and put that in the chuck. Any questions at this point?
What do you have on the tip of that chuck to keep it at the pointy thing?
It was originally a cone. Okay. So what is on the tip of this is just burn from the wood holding it.
Okay.
All right. And the pressure. And this is also a piece of scrap box elder. So it's deformed in the process of me using it a few times.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. So it's just wood. It's nothing more. I mean, it's probably, got all kinds of interesting carbonization going on in there, but I don't care because it's going away. All right, the other side, I'm just going to use my 60-degree cone live center. Okay. So now, Billy, is when I mount it in these 1/8-inch holes. So I pick one, doesn't matter which one. So one side goes in and the other side, and then you tighten it down.
Makes a little more sense now that you can see it.
Yep.
Yeah, I see where it's going.
Yep. So,
and I've watched
now,
Alan's video. I just forgot.
Yeah. So the next step, and the reason why I marked these centers here, the interim ones, the ones between each, is so I can now do this. So I set here and I roll here like this on each side. Now these are my cut mark. This is my target for the turning I'm doing on this section here. All right.
Okay.
And because I'm a little off center, it's a little. Wonder if I can get a better draw here. That's better. All right, use the outside lines, Matt. All right, we'll check it. So now this is, and you can use any number of small tools that are really good at this. I'm going to use my small deep fluted bowl gouge. People always ask me, I'm never quite sure. The outer diameter on this thing is 1, 2, 3/8. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn a flat across this between my two lines. And the reason I'm turning a flat is so that I have a starting point. All right. So the first thing and what I found with these is I have to tighten them a lot because I don't get it as tight as it needs to be so that I get it so that it turns. And even though I think I've got it plenty tight on the way in, okay, flat. Now, the next step is to take a parting tool or similar device. And this is tape on here is 3/8 in. Can you see the tape?
Yes.
So that's going to go, what I'm doing is I'm using this as a depth gauge. So, and the reason why the tip on that thing is burned is because I'm continually tightening this. Until it stops not turning or not spinning freely. Man. All right. So now that's my depth. And now I start turning between these two lines to that depth in the center. And I'm turning a simple cove. And I'm not taking heavy cuts. I'm just taking light cuts. Light shearing cuts. So it's tearing up a bit, and I still have a little bit of ways to go here, but that's what I've got so far. So let me see if I can get a better. How's that, guys?
Good.
All right, a little bit deeper. Still have a little ways to go. One more cut. That's what they say, right?
That's what she said, right?
All right, I think I'm good in the middle now. So now it's time to switch. So now we still have these 1/8 inch holes here all the way through. Let's turn on those in the middle of this one. And this is one of the reasons why I made this so steep as I did, is so that it gets in between these cracks, these turned areas. So got an interesting thing going on here, is my hole is not centered in the bottom of my cut. So I think that what I'm going to do is this one's good, but this one on the other side isn't. So I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this center where it should be and get an even cut on this.
Cheater.
Yeah, we'll see. It ain't supposed to be here. We'll see if this works. This is innovation. All right. So, and I take my pencil and I draw my marks.
Adapt and overcome, right?
That's Now I thought about just making the center lines like when I had everything on center, but they wouldn't be transverse like this. They would be to the center, and it wouldn't give you the same what you're looking for. So, and that's why the end of this thing is burned, Sue. It looks like that in here. So I'm going to try and tighten it more so I don't have to do that so much. So first thing I'm going to do again is I'm going to make a flat between this and this. And then I'm going to use my depth gauge. Okay. And now I'm going to turn my cove. I'm pretty close. So this is where we are here. Oh, I need to go further out on this side.
Matt, what speed you drilling at? Are you turning at?
I was turning a little slower before, but I'm up around 1,000 RPMs. I could probably go faster. It'll probably go because of things are you've got a lot of air in here. It probably would work better to be faster, I would think. And I actually like how I adjusted that. It came out like nearly perfectly centered. Both of these holes are in the middle. So that was done. That was a good adjustment I made there.
Cool.
Yep. So that worked. Okay. Questions?
No.
Anybody know why this thing comes out? Mine does this all the time, and I've seen other people's do this too. The little backer side to this thing. Okay, so now I've got to turn these faces, and I don't really have to worry so much about the lines anymore because they're already in place. the parameters are already in place. All right. So
Mine used to come out, Matt, right after I first got it, but I finally got it to stay in and it's never come out again.
well, I've toyed with using Loctite, and I probably should do something like that. But so what I'm doing now, and I don't know if y'all can see this, but I'm watching the shadow back here for shape. And I'm watching that for my cut. Let me pick our center point. Right about there. And now we begin making our cove. I'm pretty sure that 60-degree cone was one of the first things I ever bought that didn't come with my original lathe. I've had that thing for like 18 years and it's forever done that.
We must have got them at the same place. I got mine about the same time.
Yeah. All right. So I think that what I see here is I see this as a little fat. Do you see that there? I've got a little bit more to take off, but what it's doing is it's bringing everything together. Okay. And you get these fins. Can you see those? Yep.
Yeah, I like it.
Yep. Me too. So, and I can see the fatness in the shadow. It's not much there, but I can see it. I got some on this side too. This is really delicate, so don't put a lot of pressure on the walls. It's very thin. Just a light shearing cut. Yeah, that's close enough for government work. You know what? I'm going to take it a little deeper so it matches the others. And it could still be deeper, but these are awful. And you know what? It's kind of thick there on the side too. All right, we'll do some more adjusting here. That's pretty good there, I think. All right, I like it. Let's do the last one. Just this one a little bit too. Let's start to square between them. So I've got just this little bit left to do. All right. Now, Sure, I got that done right. Yeah, looks good. All right. Okay, it's kind of narrow, but we can get there. And again, I'm watching the shadow. I'm taking a little bit, very light shearing cut. I start to cut in midair. So I'm already got the angle of the tool the way I want it. Have a look at that. I got a ridge in the middle I got to clean up, but let's look at it and see what I'm doing here. Okay. A little bit of a break there. All right. Clean some more up here on the side. I'm going to switch to my detail gouge. So I'm having trouble getting the right angle on that. That's pretty good. A little deeper in the middle. All right. Now, okay, now I'm watching the spinning profile of this over here, the shadow, to get my cut right and get my, everything lined up right. Okay. So this is basically my finish, and I could probably take this back a little bit here. Matter of fact, I will. Okay. Questions so far?
No. Looking good, Matt.
All right. So the next step is to make these holes wider. One of the things I do is I will put this on a circular sled like this, a V sled, on my drill press and drill these holes out. Okay. With a Forstner bit. Now I can't really get a camera over there. You guys want me to do one and show how am I doing on time?
Oh, you got plenty of time. You're good.
All right. Maybe I could. No, I can't get a camera over there. Let me drill one out and I'll show you how I carve them. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Do a couple.
Okay. All right. So I think
Matt,
I'm using.
what
I
size
think I'm.
Forstner bit you going to use?
I'm thinking of using a 5/8 here. I'm not exactly sure. But you've got a hole all the way through the middle that's 3/4 inch. So you basically drill into that, and what you're doing is you're using whatever will fit in the hole between the fins. Okay. So that's pretty much how I judge it, is whatever fits between the holes. That's what I'm using.
There you go. So depending on the cove it's cut.
Yep. So I'm not sure that this is actually going to work, because that one didn't actually fit. I can do 3 of them, and then I'll carve them and show you.
Okay.
And I'm going to have to punt on the other one, but one of my fins kind of broke off a little bit too, got too thin.
Just got wounded in the battle.
That's right. All right. Okay. All right. So I've got 3 of them drilled out here with the Forstner bit. 1, 2, 3. All right. And I got stuff in here to get all kind of debris to get out. Is that you who's eating, Dane? What you eating?
I'm eating pistachios. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm like trying to figure out what it is. No big deal. Any comments? Any questions? Anything I can answer here?
If anyone's got a question or comment, floor just got opened.
One of the things to keep in mind here is that if you can see the sides here, this is not even. So one of the games you can play, and one of the first things I do is I will take this one out of the chuck and put 3/4 one in. So this one's 3/4, it's the size of the center hole. And because I can make these things all day long, I don't worry too much about damaging them, right? So I'm going to put it in one side like this, and then bring my 60-degree cone up on the other side. And then I'm going to clean up one side and the other. So you can do it with the skew. You can do it with anything you have. Matter of fact, let's use the skew as a scraper. So all I'm doing is flattening the top here. You know what? I'm going to use a different tool. I'm going to use this one, parting tool, small parting tool. And the reason why you're flattening that is so that the finial you put on top of it fits. So if you don't flatten it, there's gaps, and see, there's a little gap right there. So I got to take a little deeper. So I think, oh no, I got another little gap here.
It's got gaps like a real sea urchin, don't it?
Educational that it does, so that's pretty close. And you can clean that up with when you're sanding it. So you're eventually going to carve and sand things so that they everything fits and everything's smooth. So I mean, this is obviously just a hole here, and what you're going to do is round off the edges, and I'll show that in a minute here. So I'm doing the same thing to the other side. Yeah, a little more. The heck was that? All right. So basically what I've made is I made a little flat platform on each side for the finials to sit on. All right. And so when when you put a spare ribbon finial on there, it's got a flat place to sit so that there's no gaps. Okay. Oops. So there's no gaps. There's a little bit of a gap there. So keep that in mind when you make your finials. Don't make your bases so wide. That one's in pretty good shape. So, so the carving bit. All right. So let me switch this camera over here. Never a dull moment, right? All right.
No worries.
So I do a lot of my carving for them. Make sure I am where I am so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Can you see that?
Yeah, we can see.
All right. Let me see if I can zoom it in a little bit so I keep it on camera. There.
Yeah, you're good right there.
All right. I get this right so I can actually do it. All right. Here. I'm like twisted here. I don't know. Okay.
It's kind of weird watching you do this standing on your head.
I'm hip. So I'll round out the corners of that hole I drilled. Being careful not to clip the edges. And Alan in Alan's video, he talks about elongating these holes, making them oval. And that worked pretty good. I mean, I worked at the first one I did, I worked pretty, long and hard on it. And so that's, it doesn't take long. And this is a saber tooth burr. It's a fine. It's not the extra fine, it's the fine. And I really like the round nose cylinders because they're very versatile. And you can't see that real well. This way. There we go. So this is the one I just carved out, and it didn't take me very long. I mean, there's still, and once it's, you're going to sand as well, and you just basically get the general shape, and then you sand the edges with it. You use a Dremel or something, and use sanding burrs. So, and then, and once you get all those done, then, when you do all 8 of the holes, then you're done basically. And you can do, if you're going to decorate, then you can do that also.
Very cool.
So this is the one that I just carved a little bit. And basically I'm carving everything so it all blends. I'm carving the sides and then I carved the holes this way to elongate them a little bit. All right. So let me see let me switch over here to this bit and see if I skipped any steps. So I've got a page of pictures and then I've got a page of the steps here. Sorry. So the step 3 here on this page is the part that I pulled into the making of the spear so that I had the holes marked and drilled. And then you're marking the spear between 2 of the drilled points. I use that custom 1/8" jig that I showed you guys. And this is what I meant, Sue, when all these holes are going to go away, because you're gonna Forstner bit them and make the holes larger. So you're gonna each one of these holes that you've used, and they may or may not have a burn mark on them. They're getting widened and carved out, so they're all going away. All right. So, and I talk here about marking the bisecting points between the drilled centers, which we did, and then we flattened the center facet. So, and then set the depth in the center. I'm using a parting tool with a piece of tape on it, and then we turned the cove between the lines to the depth, and then repeat the steps. And then the drill press. What's that?
I said I understood all that, so thank you.
Okay, good. So those are the steps we did. This is the result. Once you carve it and sand it off, it takes a little bit of effort, and clearly you might have to clean some of the artifacts from the turning.
Mhm.
So, and this is the one that broke off. So, but you get an idea about the shape you're generating, and while you're carving, you can go and clean up all of the things that tear out from the Forstner bits and the drilling and so on. So that's how you turn that.
Very cool.
Matt, have you
Yes.
experimented with leaving those 1/8" holes an 1/8 inch and not taking them out big?
Like it. I dry fit everything. Okay. So when I dry fit them, I would want to, sorry. I mean, maybe you could fill them or something, and that would be interesting, but those 1/8 holes just by themselves, I don't like the way they look. So here, let me switch back to the overhead and see, it's just a simple little hole in the middle of things. So, I mean, maybe if you stuck something over it or I don't know, but you're using them. I mean, some of them are kind of chewed up because you used them to hold, to hold it while you turn the other ones. So part of the understanding is that they're throwaway from the very beginning. So, I suppose you could make a cone or something or do something a little different with them, but I look forward to your creativity on these. Make me proud.
Right. Start another rabbit hole.
Yep. Well, this is a lot. I mean, the ribbon finials were pretty easy, all things considered, but making this part between centers, and that's the piece that I made when I did that here. So making this piece is a little more tedious, and you had to be real careful. I mean, you saw the kind of cuts I was taking, very, very light. I don't want to break these little fins off. I don't want to get them too thin where they won't stay together. So you got to use a wood like a maple or a cherry or something like this that will hold together for something like that. You can't put any pressure on those fins because they're like really, really thin. I mean, they're like super thin. So.
When you start hitting 1 mil, it's thin.
Yeah, I mean, this one here. I mean, this a couple of these are just paper thin. So
Right.
I mean, you can see that it's just But
Great
anyway.
demo. Great
Well, thank you.
ideas.
Yeah, and
So folks, anybody
cool
have any
stuff, Matt.
questions?
Very good. Thank you.
you're very welcome. And there's a lot of places you could take this. And I did some thinking about this. Is could you do things like, instead of 8 holes, could you do them 6? And 6 you wouldn't be able to hold them and get the symmetry. So 8 works really well. So, and it'd probably be easier to do a bigger one. This is only 3 inches in diameter. So try one that's 5 inches in diameter.
Hey, Matt, there was a question earlier regarding using the typical 60-degree metal dead center instead of the wood one that you made on the chuck side.
I don't have one of those.
Okay, sir. That explains the reason why he.
Yeah,
he was,
I had to make one. Technically, I mean, you could use, if you had a thin parting, a thin drive center or something like that. That's that would almost work.
Okay.
Nope, it wouldn't fit. But in Alan's video, he's using something very, very small, a drive center that's really small. So he's not using something like what I made. he's using a very
Probably-
so
Well, if the
probably
60
using a
degree
tester.
live center works, a 60 degree
Yeah.
dead center should work as well.
yeah, I
Right.
completely agree. Yep.
Okay.
So, but I mean, you guys know how it is. I'm used to I when I want to do something, I ain't waiting for Amazon to deliver something. I'm making something.
Right. Amen. All right, that's great. Well, folks, anybody else have any questions?
No, thanks, Matt, and thanks for all your work, especially on that PowerPoint presentation.
You're welcome. Yeah, I try to get the steps out because this is complex, and it's kind of interesting. I'm teaching a regular class where I have people do box lids or lidded boxes, and we've all made 50 of them. You don't forget a step, but if you do, you can quickly innovate. But somebody who's new to the lathe or doesn't have a lot of experience, you skip a step, and all of a sudden your box lid doesn't fit. Your inside is too big. It's important to have all those steps listed. It's a fairly complex process.
Hey, Matt,
Yeah.
could you start out with an octagonal piece instead of turning it around? Start out with an octagon to lay your holes out ahead of time, your 1/8" holes.
It's part of it is you're laying out your 1/8" holes on the center of your sphere. So if you could do that with an octagonal piece, I mean, the whole purpose of the octagonal method is to get to a sphere. Okay.
Right.
So it's just, there's at least 10 different ways to make spheres. I mean, you could use a sphere jig. You could use the shadow method where you've got a circle drawn on a piece of paper that's down below on your lathe bed. You could make a circular template, and cut it in half and use that to check it. So there's a lot of ways to make spheres. This is just one method to make a sphere. And the point is that you're laying out your 1/8" holes on the center line. So if you're using an octagonal piece to make your sphere with, and you can get that center line right where you want it circular, so you can lay out those holes along using your indexer, then of course it would work. But one of the things in my documentation, I have the first section, this section here is on this octagonal method, and it's all about just turning a sphere. So these are the steps for turning a sphere using the octagonal method. All right. And this is just the sphere section. Okay. So the second section is turning the ornament, the multi-axis ornament part. So because I knew I was going to the multi-axis ornament, when I was doing the sphere and I had the center between centers, like, step 7 and 8 or 8C or whatever here on this, because it was already between centers and I had the indexer on, I laid out those points because I could. All right. So, and that's the only real change here. And I talked about that in the last page of my notes here. So there's there's some pictures of the process. So, about marking the interim the first 2 points here where I pull the marking and the drilling, and then marking the interim centers through too. Okay. So, because when Alan in his video, when he first does it, he marks that he doesn't mark those center points until he's actually turning that section. So he'll have a sphere and he just has the drill points. And when he gets it mounted, that's when he marks things. Mark them ahead of time.
We lost your mic.
Oh, maybe my battery died. I don't know.
Oh, we got you
Back now.
There might be another meeting going on in the house, so I don't know. There's a lot going on here tonight. So, but
Okay, Matt,
good.
Yeah.
Matt, a question on when you were doing the flattening, cutting with your parting tool, making the flat. Did you undercut that at all, or was it just trying to be straight flat? So
no, it was straight. It was straight flat, and the reason it was straight flat is because it's actually the side. So let me switch back to the documentation here. So on this diagram of the octagon, okay, the top surface that shows the S and the two T's,
Yeah.
that's the part of the sphere that's closest to you, the biggest diameter, right? The side ones, the S on the left side, that is the diameter of that. That's the why you turn it that flat, is because it's the side of the octagon. It's your sphere. You don't want to undercut it, because then you'll make your sphere shorter, your oblong. Okay.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
When I think about it, yeah, it does.
Yep. And that's one of the important parts about that, is because that diameter of that side is actually the side of that octagon, the left and right sides of that octagon.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. So no undercutting at all. Any other questions? I mean, realistically, I mean, the way I had to come back and make these flats, I probably could have shortened the sphere a little bit, and it wouldn't really have affected the outcome, because I was laying out my drill points while it was still between those centers. So realistically, it probably would have worked out if I had made it a little bit squashed, if you will. So I mean, get this. This is not perfectly round. It's a little bit squashed because I flattened the top and the bottom so my finials would fit better. Make sense?
Right.
Matt, that's why I was asking you if you could start with an octagon, because you're really not making a sphere. You're making a flattened, squish sphere.
Well, it would be interesting to find out, but the facets are circular. They're not. If you start out with just an octagonal cross section piece of wood, it's not circular. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, the octagon. I mean, you would probably have to mount it. If the octagon cross section was this way, maybe you could. Maybe that would work better. I don't know.
We'll talk later. I got ideas.
I'm sure you do. I look forward to it. I'm busy all day tomorrow.
Well, it'll be after the holidays, Matt. We'll talk.
Sounds great, Scott. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, good stuff. Matt, once again, on behalf of the club and definitely on behalf of myself, thank you very much for an excellent demo. And why don't you close down and go up to the house and get warm? Turn the meeting on.
All right. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Doug. Good demo,
You're
buddy.
welcome.
Yep.
Awesome demo, Matt. Thank you.
Back to Captain Eddie here and get a snapshot on how he's feeling.
Hey, boy, that was good. A lot of technique, Matt. A lot of technique. Now you know why they want to round you up to get you to SWAT. Let Kelly and the boys run with the ball. Good. It looks like it's doing pretty good this evening, folks. A little bit light turnout, but everybody's getting ready for the holiday. And we hope you are too. Hope you and your family have a great one. Remember, it is the time of the year for family. If you're a woodturner, bring one of your toys and give it away. Yes, leave a little something behind for the family. And this week, I've noticed that we did not have a request for any Worldwide Woodturner stickers. Now, this is the only purchase the club has made in the club's name since our inception 221 meetings ago. And we have these stickers available. They're 10 in a pack, and at $5 for the package, including freight. If you live outside the continental United States, I need an extra $1 for mailing it to you. But we're trying to get our word out, and we're doing pretty good. I mean, we have SWAT calling us. That's a point. Thank you, Jim. But we have a lot going on. And what you heard tonight, early on this evening, or if you didn't make it and you're just tuning in, the first edition of our newsletter is what, 10 days away? Yeah, something like that. Our newsletter, the new newsletter, the updated, refined star. Joaquin already signed off tonight. It's past his bedtime. Version of our newsletter. Now, if you have something to include in our newsletter, and here's the benefit of it, all you have to do is send it to us with like a photo, 300 DPI, If you take with your iPhone, it's going to be there. Do not shrink it down, send it actual size. But if you do a collage, if you have that little program on you, make sure the output is 300 DPI or greater. If you write us an article, we're going to send you a release to sign so it can go there, because our newsletter is intended to be distributed to the entire world. Anybody who would like to have it, yes. And that's stated on a newsletter. So when you get it, you can print it, you can put it out at your work, at your friend's place, and take it to the barbershop if you choose. But this is just to spread the word about worldwide woodturners. There's a way to get a hold of us. And there's be a lot to share. And that's the beauty of what we do here. We share. Every time we gather, we have a little something in the back of our minds we want to put out for our members. And we'd like you to be part of that each and every time we gather. So if something comes up and you think, oh my goodness, what about that? What about that? Tell us about it. Share it with us. And every 3 months or so, we will do a special program meeting geared towards tips and tricks. Yeah, we'll let you bring in all those little secrets you got from your shop about how to do things. You've seen some from our turners tonight, and you'll see some more. And we have members that are submitting programs to us, and we're taking a look at it. Now, we can't produce a slideshow that you provide us into our newsletter. But we're trying to work something out with folks that can do that, because it's like you've seen, some of our members can produce a tape recorder program or a slideshow, produce it on their computer and generate it to us during our regular meeting. And we can use that for a demonstration, no matter how brief. You see, it's not how big an idea you have, it's the idea you have. It's not how long it is, it's how good you make it. So that's what we're looking for. Come up with an idea, come up with a solution. Look, I mean, we get all kinds of things. Look what Doug Miller did. He got 5 blanks and decided to turn 5 different shapes. You know, that's not easy, but he cheated. Yeah, he did what I would do. I'd go to Etsy and look in Etsy for shapes. Oh, you get ideas there all the time. I do if I'm thinking about something. Wow, when are you going to do that? Etsy. My wife says, you buying stuff from Etsy? No, I'm getting ideas. They're free. And you can get it's a brain game. So that's why we do gallery here, because it's a brain game. Every time we do gallery, you see a little something and go, man, why didn't I think about that? Because the rest of the world of wood turning is with you right here each Wednesday evening. And we're doing that. We have the newsletter. We have the world's greatest website dedicated to wood turning. The world's greatest website dedicated to wood turning. I'm so proud to say that. I am. And these are all from volunteers, and you get it all free. That's right. No membership, no dues, no magazine, nothing else. All you have to do is be a member. And that's for all these folks to see. And sometimes say, who's a co-host, this a co-host. These are just other members, just like Joaquin, Doug, Brenda, Safety Sue, Crazy Mark Soleil. Crazy. He's going wacko sort of. But I know he was out there tonight. But all these people are getting together to share information on wood turning. It's a dream come true, and we want you to be in that dream. So, hey, you got something to share, get on right now. If you want to demo something, if you want to share something, let us know. Oh, by the way, do you know what chat is? Chat is right there. It's on your screen. You can type in chat, and it goes to everyone, or you can pick a person and personalize the chat too, but it'll go to everyone. And you can share information, like if you have an IRD or a demonstration or greetings or whatever, you can put that in the chat. It's wide open. That's right. It's not sponsored. It's just an availability for you and I to talk, or you and everybody to talk, to share ideas. And that's where you can put the information if you want to do something special for the club. That's where we share it at. So if you got something for gallery, we're going to go back to gallery. We've got about 40 minutes or so of regular meeting, but don't go away after that. Don't go away. Real trouble starts at 9 o'clock Central Time. I'm talking real trouble, because that's when we take curb feelers come off, the skirts go down, and, I can't say that. All right. And we do even more. What's up for gallery tonight, Dane?
Well, we got Mr. Duxbury up next. Jim.
Gotcha. I got a screen share. Let's see. Let me do this. I've been turning spatulas.
I like the color.
That's it. Turn a bunch of these and some different color ones. I show this for a couple reasons. I used to buy the colored Spectrafly or whatever it is from a guy that made high-end gun stocks. And these were the drop-offs. He since quit making them, but anyway, I get the ends and the corners and the drop-offs, whatever, and they work out great. Couple of times I've been turning these and one of those layers will delaminate and bounce off your face shield. I'll tell you, if there was ever a good reason to be wearing a face shield, I turn these pretty fast, and I have nicks in my face shield. They glue back on, but they're not nice. I also do bread knives. I do a bunch of bread knives. The knife blade is out of a Hobart bread slicing machine like they have in the grocery store. So actually, there's a center on the end of this and a center on this end, and this is all solid. You turn the handle, and then you put a riser on your bandsaw and cut these out. I even make them in sets sometimes. But, we make all kinds of stuff, but I'll tell you, if you ever turn this stuff, make sure you have a face shield on, because you'll learn real quick if you don't. That's it for me. I can't stop share. Oh, here it is.
Right,
that's it for me.
Jim.
Great demo
Appreciate
tonight.
it. All right, let's go to Mr. Dawson. Al.
Hey. Hi, Eric. Can you hear me
Got you.
okay? Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Merry.
Ooh, nice.
A hollow sphere on a winged cherry bowl on I think it's a red bud platter.
Neat.
Dale?
How you got it all fixed?
What's that?
How you have it all held together?
Oh, it's just glued together. Now here's a story with this. Now, really, what do you think? That's really nice, huh?
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? Now, everyone has a shelf on their shop that has how many things on it? On top of each other, on top of each other, on top of each other. I was moving things around to go and make more room for something else, and I put these three things on top of each other. Then when I went to go move them, I said, well, that's really pretty.
There you go.
And that's how it came about. And it's more of a joke and a story, but I think it actually looks pretty nice.
Some good can come from cleaning up.
It's great.
I'm just saying how funny it came about. You know the thing. Oh, in front of it. Again, a reason for the season.
Very nice.
The
Did you
wood?
burn the inside of that?
Pardon?
Did you burn the inside of that?
Yes, yes.
Looks nice. Very nice.
Well, anyway,
Al.
Merry Christmas to everyone. I hope everyone has a really good next year, and everybody, I hope be very healthy. So
we'll be here next week. It'll still be here this year, next week.
Yeah.
I know.
All right.
I can't wait.
There you go.
I'm already
Thanks,
ready.
Al.
Hey, and Matt,
You're already ready.
fantastic. I was just shaking my head. That was a great demo. Very enjoyable.
Yes, it
Very
was.
cool. Thanks a lot
All
for
right,
sharing. Thank you.
Let's go to Mr. Terry here. Hey, Terry.
How you doing?
Doing good.
I showed you this. I showed this a while back, and everything that went wrong, and I threw it on the shelf in a matter of junk, and I still think that's where it should be. It's made out of plywood, and it's good quality plywood, but it had a few faults in it. And if you're ever going to do one of these, make sure you use something that's no faults at all. I was going to use this for a Beads of Courage bowl, but it's too fragile. But the way the plywood is with the faults in it, if one fault, just one groove in here goes down through a little weak, it's going to follow it all the way around because it's the same board. And if you just give this thing a little bump, it's going to be in two pieces. And that's why I decided that it wouldn't be a good Beads of Courage bowl. Some poor little kid would drop it on the floor and his beads will go flying and the tears will go flying, and that wouldn't be good. So if it was ever going to make another one like it, it come out really pretty. I really like it as far as its appearance and everything.
Yeah, it is
So if I
really
was
pretty.
going to do another one, I would make a solid board insert for the top and the bottom to make sure that it was secure. Either that or maybe use some 5-panel plywood instead of 10, where you can get some that's really pretty solid and doesn't have any voids in it. But I don't think it'd be as pretty. But anyway, I got done with it and decided I would make a lid for it. So I made the lid and it come out looking pretty good. Don't look too bad with a lid on it. It's a piece of mesquite. And I had a board big enough to make 2 of these. It was because I made 2 boxes. And I thought that with the dish in it and the knob was pretty nice and it looked pretty good. So I went to make the other one with the lid the same way. And there was a void right here in the middle, a check. And there's no way I could make the knob. So I went ahead and drilled a hole in it. And then I went and got my box of junk down to see what I could make a knob out of. And that's what I came up with. It's a little piece of hackberry that was already turned. I don't know what it was made for, but something that was thrown in the junk box. I thought it would look pretty good on there. So this is what the other one is. And they both look pretty good, but they're nice. But like I say, I'm just concerned that they're too fragile. And I dropped one of these. I don't know which one. Just a very short ways onto the bench like this, and it split right in half. That's why I know how fragile it is. And it was split so clean, I put it back together. And it is one of these two. I don't know which one. But it was back in, and then I put a lot of super glue and epoxy and stuff trying to stiffen it all up. But they still come out pretty good, but I still don't think I want to give them as the Beads of Courage bowls. But that's pretty much all I played with this week. Had a bunch of other things going on, getting ready for Christmas.
All right.
Looks great.
Terry, looks great.
Yeah, I like that, Terry. Looks pretty.
Yeah, like I say, if I was going to do it again, I would put inserts top and bottom, and that would secure the whole thing together, and you wouldn't have to worry about it.
What about using Baltic birch? That normally has no voids. It's a little pricey, but Baltic birch plywood is a really nice plywood.
Yeah, they've got lots of different kinds. Everything that I do is found on the road or out of the scrap bin at the cabinet shop. I'm really pretty diligent as to not to buy much wood. I try to recycle and I try to find the beauty out of what I find, and I don't do a lot of embellishing and I don't do a lot of different things. I like to get the beauty out of the wood itself, and those are just something I found. I made segmented bowls out of the plywood going the other way, and they worked out really good. I think I've showed several of those. And but they changed the pickup date at the cabinet shop of the dumpster, so now I don't get as much wood, but usually what I get is what they throw out. So,
Need to change the days that you go there then.
yeah, they got it all messed up. They come twice a week and they work funny hours, and
Uh-huh.
I get there sometimes.
Yeah, right on.
But,
all right. Well, thank you,
so
Terry.
well, you're welcome.
All right, let's go to go over and see what's going on up in New York with Chief Morgan. Hey, Dennis.
Hang on, I'm gonna try to get some better lighting here. Trying to figure this all out. Well, I showed a couple weeks ago this platter I made, and I got it finished. I don't know if you can see it. I made a, I don't want to drop it. Made a stand for it as
Oh,
well.
it looks good.
So got that ready to go.
Yeah, he'll be happy to get that.
And had a piece of walnut. I turned a little bowl out of it. It was pretty, I don't know if you can see it real well, but it's got some pretty unique grain in the bottom.
Oh, that's pretty.
Very nice.
Yeah, it does. It's nice.
So, and that's got 4 coats of tung oil on it. And then this is just another little piece of walnut.
Oh, that's nice too.
Nothing special. And then my wife wanted a couple of Christmas presents made, so I had a piece of ash and I made a candlestick holder, just a simple candlestick holder out of that. And this was the bottom piece for another flat candle.
Very nice.
Very cool.
And then I had a piece of elm. She wanted a little dried flower vase. So
Oh, that's kind of neat.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
got some
turned
nice
it
grain
and
in
it was spalted and I stained it ebony, and the grain pattern in here is pretty cool.
Sure
Yeah.
is.
So that's what I was up to this week. So
Very
Right on.
nice.
thank
Thanks,
you.
Dennis.
We're getting there. I'm going to start experimenting on hollowing it at some point here after the new year. So, but
There's
enjoyed the
another.
demo. Great job, and everybody have a good, safe Christmas. Appreciate it.
You too.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Merry Christmas to you.
Let's see. People have dropped out. Charlie, you're still
Yes,
here.
sir.
There he is.
Now, this one, I might have showed it before, but I'm showing it when Ruby showed her bowl and complained about it. Well, she wasn't complaining. She stated that it shifted. I made this cross, and it, within just about a month and a half, it has shifted and bowed a ½ inch.
Yeah, but that looks pretty, Charlie.
Oh yeah, I'm not complaining. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
well, I
The
like it.
difference in the moisture outside in the house did that.
Wow.
Because it's a piece of pine. It had been it'd been cut down for several years in my shop for a couple of years, and it still had enough difference in the moisture.
Well, it's also possible, Charlie, that when you removed a lot of that outer structure, there was enough stress inside that wood that it went ahead and moved. I've seen wood that's bone dry curl and twist right off the table saw, my table saw.
I've done that too, cutting the plank trim for walls. Popple is real bad for it. Popple's a beautiful trim wood.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be going along cutting an 8-foot piece, stop at about 3 foot or 4 foot for whatever reason, go to start cutting again, and it's bowed so bad you can't.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all I had to show.
Very nice.
Oh, great stuff. All right. Well, looks like we're at the end of our list here, unless Mr. Joaquin has something to show us. Joaquin, you got anything?
Well, I'm having trouble. I'm on my phone. I can't open this on my computer, so I don't know how to reverse this. Let's see if I do that.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I have a couple of inside outs out of mesquite, and I enjoy making these. I think they're a lot of fun.
Pretty.
And
Very nice.
whatever depth you go down to make your groove, you get twice that on the window. It took me a while to learn that when I first started doing them. So, but everything else I've done has been lanterns and Christmas ornaments and stuff, and it's been solid. Just turning out there trying to catch up for Christmas.
Mm,
Mhm.
good stuff.
Very nice.
Nice.
That's about all I got, Dane, for tonight.
Oh, okay. Right
Yeah.
on. No worries. All right. Well, let's go back to Captain Eddie here and wait and see if possibly if anybody else wants to drop in and show something. Otherwise, we're close to the top of the hour anyhow. So
Yeah, well, it's a kind of a quiet evening. We've experienced that before. It's just because everybody's
holidays.
got a big holiday coming up. We will be here next week. We have one more week before the end of the year. And that means we have about 2 weeks before we get the newsletter out. Making a big deal of it because that's another major dream coming true for us, folks. And it's going to be something magnificent. And we do want you to make copies and distribute it for us. Help us out. Email it to your friends. Spread the word. Let them know. This is their wood club too, their wood turning club too. And it's wide open. I mean, we're not married to anybody. We just date them and love it. And I think the best thing we've seen tonight is a combination of ideas coming from different members. Matt was in the middle of his demo and he kept saying, any questions, any questions, any questions? Well, a good demonstrator will do that. And we ask the demonstrators to do it. But a really good demonstrator doesn't get responses. Do you know why? Because he's a really good demonstrator. Because he's covering all the loops. He's covering all the bases. He's got it all detailed out. And then we get people like Billy Burt. Yep, my favorite of all time, Billy Burt, old buddy, who says, what if? Now, you know, that's trouble right there. When Billy Burt or Jim Duxbury or one of those guys say, what if? You know, we're looking at an entire new animal being born right then and there. And that's what we're here for. Because Matt came to us and said, look at this, twisted. And then the same night, we probably had a dozen members rush out to the shop and turn one and make it and start changing it to an idea of what they were and what they came up with. And then the next week when they came back, Matt changed the drive on a bus and started putting color on it and glitter and sparkles and spring and all this. And all of a sudden, you know, we had this thing about colors and blending and things. Tonight, Ruby showed us a little Christmas tree she made for her home. Restricted space because she's taking care of the husband, takes more room, and don't have room for a big tree. And one of the first questions was, did you paint it in the Matt Harbor system? The Matt Harbor system? You know, all of a sudden, all the stuff that the decoration we see, we give Matt credit for it. Yeah, because we coming up with new ways, new techniques, new ideas. We blend them all together. I can't wait to see what comes out of this thing from tonight's demonstration, because we will twist it, bend it, shape it, mold it, and all that, and come back up. And it doesn't always just have to be a Christmas ornament. It's Christmas time of the year. But what we want to see is when you get these innovative thoughts and twists, how do you do it? How do you hold it? Oh, I don't have one of those chucks. Think about it. Maybe you don't even have a chuck or insert or whatever, and you turn in between centers. There's no limit to what you can do. We talked about that early on in a meeting tonight about somebody had a block come off of a screw drive. And we're surmising, we're looking at the video that was submitted. We're surmising he had a big block of wood on a screw chuck and he did not have a tailstock up on it, so he didn't have another point. And somehow, well, that big block of wood kissed him. And then he came wounded. He had some wounds on him a couple of places, but he was wearing a shield and he didn't get busted up so bad. But we surmise, looking at it, is, maybe if he did this, and maybe if he did that, and maybe this, and maybe that, we keep putting those maybes to it. Can you put those maybes to it before you turn? We used to joke about it and talk about it early on. It's the count to five thing. And the count to five thing, just literally, you count to five. You go, okay, I'm going to turn this on. Is it being held? Is that screw chuck? I've got a screw chuck in here from a not so expensive chuck. And it's kind of, and it's into the end of a piece that's spalted pretty badly. Is that going to be enough grab when this 40-pound block starts spinning around at, how many RPMs am I going to turn this thing up to? And am I going to have a point on it to stabilize it until that's where those five come from. You take a moment and you pace yourself through your routine. And you're not wasting any time. You're saving your life. You're saving your work. When none of us are kids, when we get hurt, it takes a long time to heal. And sometimes it takes a lot out of us. So counting the five, that might be a good point, is just take a few seconds more to think about, what do you do? I laugh at my wife. I don't drive any longer because of my brain thing. But she gets in and I hear her go 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a car that's only about 6 or 8 months old, and it doesn't have a stick shift, it doesn't have an ignition key, and it's got a couple of different buttons you got to push. But if you have to push all the buttons. And she's gotten to where that's her counting of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. If she misses one, in a few moments, it's going to cough when it goes to that automatic shutdown thing. So see, she's got that count to 5 just for driving. We should have that count to 5 when you're in the shop. Do I need my dust mask on? Is what I'm fooling with going to splash on me? So I said, I only pull away my mask when I'm turning big things. If Jim Duxbury only wore a mask when he turned big things, he'd have slices all over his face and spatulas. Yeah, that stuff that when it lets go now, it lets go with sharp edges. So you see those things sticking out of. He's got that mustache now too. Mm-hmm. But there's no I'll wear it if. Put it in your game plan. Think about being safe right off the bat. And then if you come up with something while you're out in the shop, make a note. Yeah, we're at that point. So I think Jim was saying it tonight. It's not, it's remembering what you did goofy or wrong when you were young. It's just that sometimes you can't even remember it until it's too late. You come by something and say, oh man, I don't want to do that again. We all experience those moments. Well, in a shop and you come up with something that's really nifty, grab a 3x5 card or a piece of paper or a piece of tape or whatever, write it down, stick it in your pocket. So you can think about it later on. And then you say, oh, you know what? That'd make a good article for the newsletter because I can pen that out and draw a picture of this little jig that I can put that will help me mark centers and do this. Yeah, and then I have an article for the newsletter and I can share what I came up with the rest of the wood turning world. See where I'm going with it, folks? This is a big bus we're driving and there's room for everybody. So we're just looking for you to jump on board, share your ideas, your thoughts, your game plans. If you've got a formula for something, Matt did really well tonight. And oh, the information Matt had there tonight, that will be included in the world's greatest wood turning website. It will. That's where we put these kinds of things. But he's got the formulas there. Shows you how he got it on his computer. Show you where it came from. It wasn't one of these things they scratch out on a chalkboard, wipe the chalkboard clean, and say, remember that? You've experienced that. I have. And I hope you're making notes. Well, we make notes and we keep them. So that's why we ask you, if you have a brainstorm, or what some people call a brain fart, and something comes up and says, oh, wait, you know what? And that's the key. Somebody said earlier, I want to tighten something down and put some Loctite on it and keep it there. I really hated Loctite. I really did. It was a good product, but I always thought, how can you get something simpler, faster, easier? A plastic bag. A regular Ziploc plastic bag. If the bolt is sitting out and you got something, put something on, you don't have to come off right away, slip that bag over it and then throw it over that bag. It'll bind it up, but it's plastic bag. It'll come back off, but it won't rattle loose. It'll fill the void, tighten up the threads a little bit. Hey, it was a simple idea. It's called redneck Loctite. I learned that from a guy that would save his wrappers from his sandwiches at lunchtime. And he would wrap things, we were putting screws and hinges and stuff, and they'd pass them through that and said, why do you do that? And he says, because it makes them bind up a little bit better. And it really did. It was a trick. He was an old carpenter, and that was a trick. No, he's thought, if you want a trick, watch an old guy work. Number one, they're going to do it the best way. And number two, they're going to do it the safest way. That's why they keep working. So when you come up with something like that, we want to see it. Matt says if anyone wants to see the actual math, he can send that also, which is part of what we do here, folks. We share. So if you got a gallery item you want to let us take a peek at tonight, let us know right now. If you got something else to share tonight, share it. But, and I'm not going to duck out. I'll be here. But before y'all duck out, because the audience is dropping down a little bit, you're ducking out to go take care of things, get a little eggnog. I want to wish each and every one of you a very happy holiday season. I hope you take it safe. You enjoy your family and your friends, and you have a great holiday season. And above all else, enjoy the comfort of others. That's all what it's all about, the comfort of others. That's all I can say. That's it. Thank y'all for being with us. It's been an enjoyable year. Boy, y'all really make my day. Thank you so much.